This conference will now be recorded.
100%, and I sometimes talk quickly and ramble, so definitely interrupt me if there's something you want me to go over again or clarify or what have you. This is the sole purpose is to teach you guys this, so certainly take your time. All right, so Brokerage Plus, the main reason that we're doing these, and I want to kind of continue to do them fairly frequently, is that you know, with the marketing push that we're doing on this, there's going to be tons and tons more questions. Just like with most of the support questions, there's going to be, you know, 10 usual questions, and for every 10 usual questions, there's going to be one that you're not going to have any idea. So my hope is when I go through this, I'm going to note where people have usually asked questions so that you can kind of, you know, take a note or a mental note and say, okay, well, if this is one of the 10 questions we see all the time, then you know, I can take this one, no problem. So firstly, only works with interactive brokers. So that's paper trading, Canadian, American, whatever. You know, I get questions all the time. I'm from India, but I have an IB account. You know, can I trade through you guys? Like, yeah, as long as you have an IB account and premium membership, you're good to go. Now that will be as long as you have, you know, premium membership, IB, and the extra $1,100 fee we're going to charge starting November 15th. So just kind of keep that in mind. So I'm just going to go through basic setup, how to trade through it, which is what I think a lot of people are going to be doing right off the bat, and then a little bit into kind of the auto trading type of thing after that. The ability to trade through the platform is something we're really going to start pushing pretty soon. The last couple sales trips I did with the guys to New York, that's what people were way more interested in than actual auto trading. Just the ability to speed up your trading, especially for some of the old guys we were talking to. So I think we're going to put a push on that as well. So, so to get everything started and set up, first we're going here, and this is interactive brokers. They need both, a question I get a lot, you need both interactive brokers and trade ideas constantly running throughout the day, right? So if you have a laptop and you close the lid and go somewhere and then open it back up again, everything is going to be disconnected. You may have to reconnect things, and then while you were away, orders that were already out there in the market will work, but nothing else will work. So you won't generate more signals. You won't do anything like this. Another reason that I'm big on the cloud computing is that it's just always on. I'm a laptop guy. So that's one thing. So yes, you need Trader Workstation open and on, and yes, you need Trade Ideas open and on the entire time. After that, essentially, this is their trading platform. There's really not a whole lot to do here, and there's really not a lot. Actually, let's just clear this entirely, open up a new one. Not a crazy amount to do on our side. So under new, you're going to get Brokerage Plus, and this is the kind of default selection that you have. You'll notice there's a little disconnect icon up here. If this is a solid green line, you're connected. If it's red and broken, you're disconnected. To connect, you'll just click on disconnected and interactive brokers connect. Eventually, and hopefully this will have, you know, speed trader, TDE, all the different guys we're working on. But for now, interactive brokers. From here, they can select whether you want Trader Workstation Live or paper. If they ask about IB Gateway, that might even have to be a Brad question because I've honestly never used that. I think that's their old version of the platform that we're still doing some legacy support on. But if someone asks you, says, I have the IB Gateway, and I don't know how to use something, we're going to first suggest that they upgrade to Trader Workstation, because we will stop supporting that at some point once IB kind of ignores it entirely. So then they just connect whether they're going to be in paper or live. Just like when I logged on to IB, there was an option for paper and live, and click on that, and after that hit connect. And that should be it. But if it doesn't work like that, then there is some settings that we will go into interactive brokers to change. So the settings used is, I guess, going to be now up here in this cog. Okay, they left this the same. That's good anyway. So here is their configuration screen. So where they're going to need to do things for interactive brokers is all under this API section. There's kind of 3 subheadings: settings, precautions, news configuration. Only the top 2 we actually care about. Put up my drawing tool I do on my videos here. Where'd it go? There it is. Yeah, so it's only these 2 that we actually care about, settings and precautions. And really, there's only a few things to be taken from that. I also have, it's important to note, when me and Steve did those little short videos, I have one on this connection step. I have one on how to trade through it. And then I have one on setting up kind of the auto trading. So there will be those, they're less than 2-minute long videos that will explain this a little bit. The main thing to take away from this screen, actually, and 90% of your problems are going to be in this setting here, or this setting here. And that's going to be mostly everything. So enable Activex and socket controls or socket clients is basically just allowing the system to connect a different way. I've heard it, in theory, I don't think this should affect anything, and it should be enabled by default, but I've had some people take it on and then everything works fine.
Michael.
Yep.
Allow connections from local host. Yeah. Allow connections from localhost only is also imperative. If that is unchecked, it will not even try the port number.
Oh, okay. Mine must have been on by default or something, because I never messed with that.
It is the default.
Okay, perfect. But if they untick this for whatever reason, that can cause a lot of crap, so they have to go put it back on.
That's correct.
Okay.
Speaking of defaults, are all these default settings when you first open up settings?
There'll be, I think, this one and this one I changed, but I'll show what they are, and then I think the rest of them are defaulted like that.
When you underline and put a dot beside that read-only API, but it's not checked. Should that be checked also?
No, so that's I think that's unchecked by default, but if not, I would get them to go check that. So what a read-only API means that it would allow Brokerage Plus to pull in data, so like to see their account balance and their P&L and all this kind of stuff, but it wouldn't be able to send orders. So this one's a big one if you have a client coming in saying, oh, it shows connected, and I can see my account balance, or I can see whatever, but it's just not sending orders. It usually means that they have this ticked and they have to get rid of it.
Okay.
Because basically what's happening is that we're trying to send orders, but then IB has this thing that's saying, no, you're only allowed to read. You're not allowed to actually interact with the software in any way. Okay. So yeah, often if you hear that, it shows connected, but it's not trading, then that's what you have to tick. Now, if it's not connecting at all, if that, it had this little thing that was like a broken deal, if that's staying red and can't be moved, it's 9 times out of 10, if not more, this problem number. So 9.6, I think, and Bill knows this exactly, but I think 9.6 connects better under paper trading, and 9.7 connects better under live, or something like that.
Other way around. Yeah, 9.7 is paper only. 9.6 is live trading.
Okay, so it's essentially, for us, the main thing we need to remember is I just usually tell them to go in. I tell them to try both, right? Because if you apply this and then change it, and then try to connect, it will go through instantly. They don't need to reset anything. So basically, the first step in any I can't connect to Brokerage Plus problem is tell them to go through here and try 9.497 and 9.496. And usually when you come back, that's cleared up 90% of the things. And then as Bill mentioned, I guess this can be a problem as well, which makes sense. It just means that it's, you know, looking for connections on the same computer, basically, instead of, you know, connections through the web, I guess. But yeah, that's really most of the settings that you're going to care about is, you know, step one should probably be try these ports. And then step two should be, is your read-only API checked? And then step three would be this, and then, right, and then this as well. But thankfully, I do have that 1 minute long video that has this screen up along with all of my settings. And I do talk about the port number. So that's gonna, I think, probably be step one, is just say, here, watch this video. And then I have those longer videos on my channel where I actually have this screen up for like, I think 3 or 4 minutes where everybody can see what settings I use. So that should clear up most. If it's still not connecting, it's either user error or some sort of computer problem, which we all know means it's probably just user error. So that makes sense to everyone. That's how you connect the two. And as long as this thing is saying connected, then you're good to go.
Yeah, one more time, Michael. Show me where you launched the settings from.
Yeah.
The cogwheel.
It might be hard to see because they're both really dark colors, but it's right there.
Okay, I see it. Yeah.
And that was it's a cogwheel now, but literally this morning when I was trading, it was like a monkey wrench type of thing.
Huh. Okay.
So yeah, it's yeah.
So
that's
also this also is like an execution blotter, right?
Yeah, this is this is you know, their software, and you can do, you know, the same thing you can do in every other broker software, right?
Okay.
You can pull up charts and level 2 and time and sales and all that kind of stuff. But since I don't watch that, I basically just want to go through and make sure that this is the test account that I'm doing. So I basically just go through and make sure that these trades kind of match what they should.
Okay.
At the end of the day. So that's why I'm looking at that. But yeah, you can do anything that you can do in any other broker there. All right. So now that we're connected, there's really no need to almost ever look at IV again, unless you're having a problem where there's an order out that shouldn't be, or something like that. Everything else is done right from Brokerage Plus, which this is the only window by default, but you can open up as many of different windows as you want. You can open up new tabs, or you can actually open up all of these as new windows if you want to separate them out. So this would be just the positions window, which is also the same as the positions tab here. Question I get sometimes is, I lost this tab or that tab, for the people who are too lazy to click on the new button and see that it's all there. But this is kind of everything that you can look at through Brokerage Plus, and it's again a lot of the same stuff that people will see from their broker. So this shouldn't be new to a lot of people, you know, things like positions and open orders and all of that. It shouldn't be that new to people. But just a quick go through, we'll spend most of our time on this screen in a bit, but this is where we would put our automated strategies, or where we would build the ability to trade with one click in and out. That will happen here. So we'll spend most of our time on that, but I'll just quickly go through the others. This is the position tab. So it says that this is today's P&L. There's a P&L graph, the same kind of thing that you guys see in Holly, that will talk about, you know, the P&L throughout the day, whether it was positive or negative, and then your total P&L today. And this can be toggled to total P&L and today P&L and that type of thing. You can narrow down the positions you want to see. So right now there's this account, which again, this is the test paper trading account, but my own personal trading, I have my retirement account, you know, which has certain, I think like you guys, has certain rules of what I'm allowed to trade, not allowed to trade, and that type of thing, and margin. And then I have other accounts for algorithmic trading and some for discretionary trading and managed stuff and all kinds of stuff. But you can actually see these different accounts here. So if you just wanted to look, for example, what was your retirement account doing, you can click on that and it will just filter all of these trades. So it's just that retirement account. You can do the same with by what strategy they came from and whether you just want to look at open, closed positions or long and short positions, right? So if you want to look at, just closed positions today, you can see this is everything that was closed today along with the P&L associated with it. From there, you can go into accounts. This is pulling in this test account. So it pulls in the value, what your buying power is, realized, unrealized, that type of thing. Messages, this is a bit techy, so you're probably not going to get any real questions about this, but I think this is going to be mainly for debugging. It's technically putting exactly what is happening, second by second, minute by minute. Every time there's a trade attempted, that type of thing, it's going to pull all that down. We'll go over where you can get this in text form, which when we're debugging, we need quite often in just a second, but that's basically just the text side of things. So orders, here's the same type of thing. These are all your open and closed orders. You can go through and you can take a look if you only wanted to see live orders or, orders that are not live, so canceled or whatever. You can get filled orders. Again, you can sort by account, what strategies, different symbols, just a way to see any orders you have out so you can customize them or delete them or move them or do whatever you want there. And then summary, this is just kind of what's happening today. So it will talk about your profit for the day. It will talk about how many shares you traded. And again, this is for anyone who's actually traded for any length of time. This is going to be pretty familiar because this is the same as most brokers have all this stuff separated. So that's pretty much the entire module. I'll walk through the position tab for a bit. So this has sell and then it has symbol, right? Shares, price, that's pretty standard. Stop price. So for example, if I want to put out a stop loss order, I can say, let's put it out at 85.06 and then make that market. So now that's going to send out a market order here when this price is hit for 100 shares of XLNX. If I just want to send out a limit order, I can just remove this and it will just send out a limit order for, again, that share size and that price. It will auto populate when you click on a symbol with what the price is and how many shares you have, just in case you want to put out an order to sell all. So you can just see it populated to 1204, populated to 963. So that's just a quick way so that you can click a button and then click another, I want to sell this, I can just go boom and then hit the sell button and it will just send out an order. So there, it just sold that position.
Is that defaulted to market order or is that something you can change in the settings, sir?
You can't change. That's defaulted to limit and it's
Okay.
It pulls, I believe, it pulls the last traded price to populate this box. So we had a question from client to go through these. They're exactly what they sound like. So flatten will flatten the position. So covered if it's a short, sell if it's a long, cancel all corresponding orders with it. So if you had a stop loss out, it'll cancel that. If you have a target out, it'll cancel that. This will cut the position in half and also cut the associated orders in half. This will double the position, right? If you're trying to get 100 shares and it's continuing to go and you want to buy 200 and you want to buy 400, this is a very dangerous button. Reverse will turn longs into shorts and shorts into longs, and limit outs will try to grab the bid and the ask price and put that order out. So you're not aggressively getting out, you're passively getting out. And then these three on the bottom will either select all of your positions or all of your longs or all of your shorts, right? So for example, if I wanted to sell all of my short positions, I can click short, and it should, is that my only short? Okay, well, let's click long. You can see it highlighted all of these long positions all through here, and then I can click flatten, and if the market was open, it's kind of losing its mind for a second here. If the market was open, it would sell all of these positions, and then it would cancel all of these orders. And then click all, and then long short. So this is just quick ways to manage your position. You can also do it just by right clicking on the symbol. So if I wanted to add a stop order, I can add a stop order. I can put in the price and just say $7, and then it will just put out a stop order there. Right, so just like a lot of our system, a lot of it has to do with just right clicking on whatever you want. If you want to customize a chart, you right click. If you want to customize Holly, you right click. And if you want to manage these positions, you just do the same. You can add a time stop and put what time of day you would like it to cancel or get you out of the position. You can add a target, and then you can assign it to different strategies. This is mostly for bookkeeping. Once you have orders out, you can click again and you can say modify orders, and it will give you all of these settings. So you can loosen that stop loss, you can tighten it up. So we put out a stop loss at $7, I think. So you can either make it looser, put it down at $3. You can make it tighter and put it up at 10. You can move it to your break-even price, which is just the price that you got into the position, or you can just enter an exact price. So that's about that screen. So again, I'll open that up to questions, because this is what most people are going to be looking at all day long, essentially.
So once again, Michael, all the buttons on the right, the double, the 1/2, the flatten, they are these set with deltas in the back end? Or are these set for, how do you set how you want the order to go out?
These are all markets.
Okay. And they're not changeable. You cannot change those to any deltas or anything. I mean, a limit with a delta or something like that. Those are all markets. Okay.
Yeah, those are you can't change those right now. Those are all.
Okay.
It's supposed to be. I want more customization myself, but I get what they're going. This is the quick way. This is the guy who's remote desktoping into his computer at home from his iPhone or something, and wants to get out of something or buy into something, right? So these are your quick
panic buttons.
Basically, yeah. Right. These are quick. And what I'll do, I've many times in a meeting in my other life logged on and saw a position that might have been going very well for me, and then just loving the fact that with my finger I can just tap this and I can just tap half, and I know that it's selling half my position and it's changing all the orders around it. So I don't have to do anything else. I can close my phone and then actually pay attention to what I'm supposed to be paying attention to. So, it's just a quick and dirty way to do it. It's not precise at all.
I think you're right, Michael, in that the 75% of the initial questions coming at us are going to be that first API screen. What I suggest maybe we do is get a clean shot of what your settings should be, then maybe grab a couple PDFs, and we can always drop screenshots in rather than talking and chatting. What do you think about that?
I sent one to our support channel. I sent a PDF to our support channel.
Yeah, so I think Michael's getting the gist here. We can just get a visual of the important ticks that need to be set and just start there. Rather than trying to just have a conversation. Let's just start here. And does your API look like this? Oh no, I've got 407496. Okay, well that's live. You don't want that. You want to be on the other one and whatnot, or vice versa. Excuse me. 797's paper.
I think that's good. So
second question: what are you using over there for your crosshair tools, your pointer, your highlighter on your presentation here? Is that part of GoToWebinar?
See, you just exposed yourself. You expose yourself for not watching my videos, and I'm not happy about it. No, it's called Epic Pen, which is pretty straightforward. You can get, that's the free one, and then you can pay like $20, I think, and you get like annotation tools and like straight line drawing and all of that kind of stuff.
All right, so you mentioned that in your video. I guess I missed that. I'm sorry.
No, it's basically how I just annotate charts when I'm doing the videos.
Yeah, because I would like something like that when I'm doing my webinars. I feel like, can they see what I'm pointing at here?
I've had a couple of people say, I cannot follow your cursor.
Yeah, I would like to get something like that. All right.
Yeah, it's just Epic Pen. I've been using it for a long time. I've actually gotten a lot of, of the comments I get, which is unusual. People do really love that. They're like, "Oh, I'm great," because when I'm saying, "Hey, look at these highs," oh, we look how we bounced off these highs. I can just, do that, and it just makes life very much
easier. Does it have
a
focus light that'll like circle your cursor with like a yellow light, like a spotlight? Does it have
highlight?
That functionality?
Yeah.
Highlighter?
I think in the pay version, yeah.
Okay.
So something I missed, and Steve reminded me when I went there, is another setting that we will have to deal with sometimes is, so we talked about settings. So actually under precautions, which I just completely forgot about, all of these should be ticked, and sometimes they're not. And basically what this is doing is bypassing the stereotypical "are you sure" button. So, where in a lot of cases, what would happen if I updated an order, it would go to like an update phase in, let's see if I can do it, in Brokerage Plus. So if I go in and just change, so I changed that from 150 shares to 650. You see how it's just highlighted update? And that means that this order is not live yet. It's just waiting for me to confirm that change by clicking update. If you have these precautions unticked, every order will stay in that state until the user goes and approves it. So the main one you want to look at is this bypass order precaution for API orders. And that basically just, again, it's going to be another one of those problems that says my stuff's not trading for me, right? So it's going to be coupled in with the beginning ones. I just kind of missed that. All right, so skim through quickly. I don't want to keep you guys forever. So the main tab where kind of all the magic happens is this strategies tab right here. And what this is where every order for like one-click order entry or every order for completely automated trading is going to live right in here, and you're going to have to enable and disable them kind of every morning and night. So for now, major questions is if this says off, it will not trade. So you can highlight it all just by clicking and dragging. You can select all, right? It has the long and short buttons as well. And then you can just use enable or disable. And then if you want to do it one by one, you can just right click and click enable somewhere. Yeah, strategy disable, click to enable, just like that. So essentially, if they're disabled, they'll just kind of sit there dormant waiting for orders. You can still trade through them with kind of the one-click thing, right? I can still buy and sell using last price, but they won't trade on their own. So this is good for if the trader wants to have a bunch of different strategies and only activate a few a day. The other thing to keep in mind is that the second the market, or the second you shut down trade ideas, all of these will default back to off. So then the trader will have to go back and turn them all back on. For some reason, I get a lot of like moaning and groaning about it, but I just tell them it's for their safety, which even if it's not, it's a good idea for their safety to have to go in and activate these things every morning. As well as Interactive Brokers has a system where it automatically shuts off in the middle of the night and closes their software. So for that, you would have to reconnect anyway. But if they are complaining about that, just tell them it's for safety, and they usually like that answer. Another major question is this advanced exits. What is this and why doesn't it do anything? And what this is going to be in the future, but not turned on yet, and I'll make a big announcement when it is essentially the same kind of exits that you see Holly take when it comes to take profit or reduce risk, these type of kind of trailing stop algorithms. We're trying to build those into the system where someone could say, okay, well, I want to enter the position, but then I want to use this to exit the position or manage the position for me. The main question we get right now is, I have this turned on, but nothing's happening. And just the answer is that we're not out of beta yet, that this is going to be something that will be turned on down the road when we're out of beta. And that's what it will be, is just to mimic Holly's exit. So essentially down the road, if somebody wanted to trade Holly risk on or risk off, they could either enable or disable the advanced exits. I'm excited for it. I think it will help me out. That's one of my major flaws as a discretionary trader, is actually taking profit when I have it.
Now, yeah, Michael, will clients be able to use these advanced exit strategies inside their own strategies, or although it's only going to be for Holly strategies?
Nope, they'll be able to do it inside their own, and they'll actually be able to do them when we go over in a second, but you saw it before, like that click to enter a position, you could actually assign that so it has advanced exits. So if you say, you know, oh, look at Nutrisystem right here, I want to buy it, and you buy it and you say, well, I want Holly, quote unquote, but using these advanced exit kind of algorithms that we built, if you said, I just want to have it managed with that, you can turn that on and it will. So it will, right, reduce risk, takes profits, that kind of thing. Sorry, so
you may be about to go there, but the other day when I was playing around with it, the only way I was able to like migrate strategies from my TI window to the Brokerage Plus module was to do a collaboration. Is that the only way, or is there another way to do that?
No, there's a few ways, and that's what we can. So essentially what we're going to do is I'm going to just show you how to add strategies in, and then how to kind of create your own situation. So this is an algo that I've built, just called trend play. It's looking for stocks that are in strong trends. This is kind of the basic of all the technical stuff that I put into the score without the social and fundamental aspect. So if you run a back test, you can see I have it running all day, 90-minute exit. I have a 20-cent profit target, and it's using the smart stop and all of these settings. So if I run this, again, the results don't really matter, but then if I take this strategy and I save it to the cloud, right, and I can take that link, but I don't need it. Right, so it has this strategy, and more importantly, it has these settings that we just used. So then if I go into my Brokerage Plus window, and then I load from cloud, and I pick the strategy that I just saved, it's going to come up with this box, and this is something that's hugely important. This, which I actually brought up because David had a good point in our last one, is an evil button, and I don't know why we have it as default. So if I were to click this now, it's going to remove all of the strategies that I have and just put that one in. So if someone says I add in a strategy and my other one goes away, it's because they're clicking this. I have add to existing. I think we're going to try to switch the order of these, but add to existing is basically what you want, where it will just add it onto your list. It won't mess with your current list. And here, replace by name just means that if you have a strategy of the exact same name, it's just going to remove that strategy and put your new one in place. So we'll click add to existing, and we can see that it just popped out here. So the beauty of this, if I edit this, and now we're getting into kind of how you build automated strategies in Brokerage Plus, but it pulled in all of my information. So it pulled in the 20-cent profit target I wanted, the smart stop I wanted, my entry time, my 90-minute hold time, right? Everything that I had run through the back tester is directly copied here. So that's how I would suggest we teach people to put in strategies, because it forces them to do that extra step of running the back test and saving it to the cloud, which means that inevitably when they delete it or something from Brokerage Plus, we can say, don't worry, you just reload it from your cloud, and there it is. It's kind of a sneaky way to force them to do into the cloud, because as Andy was saying, he can use the collaborate feature and get it in that way. But I think we should just do that load from cloud step, just because it's I think it's just going to save us in the long run. So I'm going to quickly walk through this. So this is how they would actually set up what they want the trade to look like. So whether this is I'm going to click the button and take a trade, or I'm going to let this thing trade on its own, most of these are going to be the same. So we're just going to kind of quickly walk through what everything needs. A lot here is pretty self-explanatory, right? So we have the name. You can name it whatever you want. Which accounts you would like it assigned to. That's the same as I was talking about, where I do some managed money. So I have that account, and I have my retirement account and some different things here. You can select which account you want this strategy to go to. Here is just long or short, right? Whether you want to buy or sell. And then here is just all of the, basically you can just double check everything that you have in that strategy. You can configure it right from here. So if you did want to, increase the volume for this day, or, you want to remove, a certain symbol or something, you can do all of that, because once you open up this configure box, it's the same alert configuration box that we all know. So I can configure volumes and everything right from here. You can also collaborate the same way you collaborate between Trade Ideas windows. You can actually just collaborate through here, and it will put in all of these alerts and filters, but will not put in, all this stuff. It won't put in your backtesting criteria, which is why the load from cloud is better. So initiate trades between, right? Same as the backtester. It's when do I want it to start trading and when do I want it to stop trading. A huge question that we will get all of the time is you'll see someone who has a strategy that starts at 10:30 a.m. So this is 9:30 New York time. You have to adjust for my time. They'll have from 10:30 to like 10:32, and they'll say, listen, the backtester said I should have gotten all this, and instead I got all this shit instead. Or, it entered positions and stopped me out right away. A big suggestion that we have to make to these guys is that Trade Ideas is not set up as a high frequency trading platform. And in the first minute or two, it doesn't really matter what the backtester says. It's, this is something that if they really need an explanation, you'll pass them off to a trader. But, every single one of us here knows that in that first 5-10 minutes, things are just so quick and so erratic that if they, I had one guy yesterday or today who was basically had a 10-cent stop on every trade, and he had this thing trade like 50 times. And he was saying, listen, I just got triggered and stopped out right away. And the answer was nothing to do with our software. It was just, yeah, that's the market, right? For the first 10 minutes, things are just insane. So, if someone sends you something and it just has that first few minutes trading, and they're complaining about their results being different, or they're getting stopped out right away, or the orders are sending out weird areas, that's just one of those. That's the way the market is. So kind of get over it, unfortunately. Send orders at most once per day for this strategy. This should be ticked if it's an automated strategy. So when you run the backtester, it gives you the first and only the first instance of each symbol each day. So if Apple were to show up on your scan 10 times, the backtester is testing that first time only. So if you want to mimic those results in this backtester, you have to have this ticked just to make sure that it mimics those. Now, if for whatever reason you don't, then that's fine. But if people are saying that it's trading all the time for them, in the same symbols, it's sending out duplicate orders or whatever, this is the first place to send them. Most of the time that solves the problem. Next one down, send orders even when this holding exists for this symbol. So basically just if I'm holding Apple that I either bought myself or that I had another strategy trade, do you want it to trade Apple if it triggers on this one? It's totally up to the trader. They just need to know that that exists. This is a huge one that I highly suggest that everybody uses, and this is the stop me from going bankrupt button, where essentially what it will do is it will stop sending out orders after, so I have it stop sending out orders after filling 10 orders. So after the first 10 trades it takes, it's going to shut off. And this helps a lot in case something crazy happens in the market and maybe a strategy that you had that generally trades a few times a day, all of a sudden trades 1,000 times until you're at a buying power, and then you take a big haircut. So that's what that button saves you from. You can have filling or sending. Filling meaning it sent out the order and you got the stock. Sending meaning it just sent out the order. And again, that's entirely up to trader discretion, but I highly recommend that people use it. So next is position sizing. How many shares do you want to buy? You can do fixed dollars, right? So it defaults to $10,000. You can do fixed shares, right? If I wanted to trade 300 shares. And then my favorite, which these guys have heard me gush over before, is it will actually take your entry order here and your stop loss order, and it will run some math for you. So for example, I have most of my algos set up where I risk about 250 bucks on any trade. So what I wanted to do is to say, okay, if I get filled where I want to get filled here, and if this stop loss order is where it is and that gets hit, I only want to lose 250 bucks, right? Give or take, depending on slippage, right? All words that we just need to learn to regurgitate because we're going to hear a lot of. But so for example, if it's buying a $10 stock and it's putting out the order at $9 to get me out, it's going to say, okay, well, there's $1 between these and the trader wants to risk 250 bucks. So I'm going to buy 250 shares. See how I made the math nice and easy for me like that? So I didn't have to pretend I was smart. All of that's going to be taken care of. So when you go to our position here, into our position windows, you can see that there's a lot of like really weird numbers, 989, 108, 192, 149. And that's because it's basically calculating what that risk would be and making sure we don't take any more than that.
Hey, Michael, just a thought for like William and Marissa and Bill. Why don't you go up to the toolbar and show them the options, because this is the logic that we now have for Holly. You can go to the options and you can, the same thing that Michael just explained is now the last option there in Holly. And so what I've been telling people is that third option where he's got 200, same thing, 250 in there. That's how we're seeing these custom P&L values show up in the Holly windows. So I just wanted to kind of point that out for the people who were not aware of that.
Yeah, so you guys probably noticed that before. Holly would say I'm up $5 or down $3 or right up $1. And that was assuming one share taken on every single trade. So what this you can do is you can basically say, if I put $2,000 into every one of Holly's trades, or if I bought 250 shares, same setting, and then what you get is under your strategy window, right? You can see that if I'd taken every trade and I'd risked $250 on every trade, I'd be up $3,000. And that's the same exact thing that we're trying to replicate right here, which is great because it just helps people who want to learn the system. So it's just doing the same thing. It's basically saying, here's your entry order, here's your stop loss. I'm going to calculate the amount of shares for you based off of this stop loss. So that's position sizing. Once again, anyone interrupt me or cut me off if anything here doesn't make sense or you want clarification, don't be shy. Entry orders.
So I have a quick question. So now, yeah. I mean, at one point, Holly did not automatically trade, but now because of Brokerage Plus, people can place their auto trades using Holly?
Not yet. So,
not yet.
So basically how it's working, I know Dan talks about this, but I'll try to remove a lot of the passion that he has. But so essentially what we're doing is we have, if you're a premium member now, come November 15th, nothing will change for you. You'll continue to pay your same rate. You'll get the same brokerage plus that you always wanted. That's fine. If you buy after November 15th, you have to spend $1,100. So they put $100 down as a deposit, and after a certain time that I think is still to be decided, they will pay an extra $1,000, and then they will have access to Brokerage Plus. So if they want to just do their own, they just want to trade through the system in the way I'm going to show you in just a second, they can still have the standard plan and Brokerage Plus. But the big kind of selling shtick is that if they spend the money and then we get them to buy premium for $228, they will have the ability, and I think the plan is to start this in the new year, they will have the ability to plug into Holly and have that traded. So the reason, other than the profit potential of it, the reason that we're selling these copies is we don't really know what's going to happen to Holly when a lot of people start trading it. So Dan, and I think this is definitely 110%, this is the way to do it, wholeheartedly on his side on this one, is you start with a slow rollout. So basically everybody with premium access already will already be in this test, and then these 1,000 new people that spend their $1,100 will be in here as well. So you can't trade Holly yet, that's still the answer, but now the answer has turned from, because again, most of the questions you'll actually get for Brokerage Plus will have something to do with how to hook Holly into it. So the answer has gone from you cannot trade auto trade Holly to you cannot auto trade Holly yet, but you can gently remind them that if they leave now and they leave that premium membership, then there's no guarantee that after the 15th they'll get access to this. So if we do sell a crap ton and we sell it all of 1,000 in like a month or two, and we find out that that's pushing around Holly enough to affect returns, they might not be able to get in for a long time.
That's actually what I just wanted to ask you. If 1,000 people start auto trading Holly, can Holly actually affect the market?
Yes. So that's why we're starting with 1,000, right? Because if we just turn this on to everybody, we're worried that essentially what may happen is that even the results that Holly is putting out right now on paper would be affected. And people may get hurt and this type of stuff. So
here's the angle I really think we should take, because this feature is so incredible, and there's so much more you can do this, and everybody's all gung-ho, can't wait to come in and hook up Holly, when I think they're missing the big picture here. And Michael has shown us some features that you can do, like point and click and automatically insert the price and target, and just by pointing and clicking, it's a really cool feature, and there's so many benefits to using this, and we got to paint the broad picture and not focus everybody in on Holly, because it has the potential. I mean, I understand Dan's enthusiasm, but it has the potential of not working out so great. But
and the other thing is what sold Don from Speed Trader was me sitting down next to him and Sean. They were just shooting the shit about something. He wasn't really interested in automated trading. It didn't, it's too much, numbers, and everyone thinks everyone's a quant and a big math nerd when they do it and stuff. But I sat down next to them and I pulled out my iPad and I saw a trade that just went through one of my scans, and I'll show you in a second, but I was able just to click on the order from my iPad without even a keyboard and say, risk me this $250, send out this limit order, send out the stop loss order, and away you go. And then I put the iPad up on the table, and he just looks at me, he's like, wait, did you just trade? I was like, yeah. He's like, that was really quick. I was like, well, yeah. And so then I started to show him that feature, and he just looked at me and he said, I'm in, send me the paperwork. So,
wow.
It's big, because what we can do is we can market it to clients as, here's a way to remove emotion from your trading. The stop loss will already be put out. The math will already be worked out for you. But as well as when you're talking to your institutional clients, just push it as, when trading is easier, people trade more. So what I told Donna, I was like, you know why Apple became the largest music distributor in the world? And he was like, no, I don't know. I was like, they came along when Napster and like LimeWire were a thing, and they just made it easy. People are willing to spend money if that lag time from wanting to do something and doing something's removed. So when we sell it to clients, and we're not bullshitting at all, it does remove that emotion from your trading. It makes it so that you can do whatever. 90% of the people who are with us have day jobs and are just trying to trade for extra income or to someday be able to do it for a living. But you can also then take that and market that to brokers and everything and say, do you want your people to trade more and pay you more money? This is a great way to do it.
Right.
So essentially how you can enter these orders. So we'll just go back. So position sizing based on stop loss, order entry. This is kind of what Andy was talking about before, where you can actually customize. You can put out a limit order. If anyone wants me to go through limit, market, stop orders, I can certainly do that. You can pull it off of the last price or any kind of filter. So here you'll see our entire list of filters, but people can actually kind of mathematically derive filters. So for example, Barry had somebody in the room asking, can he have it enter off the mid price, the price between the bid and the ask, instead of the last price? And I said, yeah, well, you just build a custom that says, take the ask price, subtract the bid price, and then under here, you would just put in a filter. Right, and then that mid filter, it would just constantly start sending out orders at the mid price. So you can customize your entry through here. So the main question that everybody will get 8 million times, and I think it's 100% our fault and we need to look into it, is this one. So let's just go good for. Basically just means send it out for that many seconds. If it doesn't get filled, cancel it. So that one's easy, right? So this is going to put the order out there. If after 120 seconds or 2 minutes it doesn't fill, it will cancel the order. You just won't get the fill, which is very much necessary in this kind of thing. So limit offset, tons and tons and tons of questions and tons of confusing. And again, I think it's our fault. So basically what limit offset does is it takes, say, the last price of the stock, and you can either add or subtract a certain amount to that. A lot of people get confused on how this works, so I'm going to take a little bit of time with it. So the way to think about it is that if they put in a negative number, that's making their order more aggressive. Whether it's long or whether it's short, it doesn't matter. It's long, short, agnostic, doesn't care. Right? If they're doing it a positive, then it's going to be a more passive type order, right? So a limit offset of -2 will basically take this price and on a long position add 2 cents and on a short position subtract it. So if the stock's trading at $10, right, and you have a limit offset of the last price, which is $10, -0.02, and you're buying this stock, it's going to send out a limit order of $10.02, right? So it's taking whatever this is and it's saying, okay, I'm buying it and I want those shares and I'm willing to be 2 cents more aggressive to get them because I put in a negative number. If you're shorting this stock, it's going to put out an order for $9.98.
So is the real confusion, Michael, why is it a negative value when you're adding it to your buy price? Shouldn't it be a +02 for both values, I guess, because you're getting aggressive on the downside too? I'm sure there's a reason why, but I can see that's why the confusion comes in.
Yes, basically people think that, and again, I don't blame them on this one at all, that if they're going long, they should put in a positive, and if they're going short, they should put in a negative, because they're thinking of it as above or below, right? Where it's really more aggressive or less aggressive. And that's usually the way I can explain it that will make it make sense to people. So I basically say, if you want to be aggressive on your orders, use a larger and larger negative number. If you want to be passive, use a larger and larger positive number. So does that make sense? Don't be shy if it doesn't, because it's a super, super common question.
I don't know if it's that clear. You do have a -0.02 in there right now, right? Or is that positive?
Yeah.
Okay.
-0.02.
Yeah. probably what's throwing a lot of people off, okay, and you guys will see this referred to as deltas. So people will come out and ask you if they're talking about delta, they're kind of talking about the same thing. And a lot of execution platforms, you actually do use a positive number when you're talking about a delta. So I can see where that can be kind of confusing. Yeah. And so wait, but it says, but Michael, it says plus equals outside market, and minus is inside market.
I know, which is also confusing, right?
Because it is, yeah, because I'd be thinking, okay,
if and I really want to put an order out.
Yeah, so basically the inside market is the same as a limit buy or limit sell, correct? I mean, you're putting your limit price in there with a delta, basically.
Yeah, but it's not. And again, I'll bring this up to Dave M, because this isn't accurate, because inside the market would basically imply to us traders who've been trading for a while that if I make it more negative, I'm almost going more inside the spread, all right? And if I'm making it more positive, I'm going more outside the spread, which
exactly. Okay.
You know, it's not. So that's, again, until they get that fixed, if they listen to me to get that fixed, that's just the thing, is that more negative equals more aggressive, and more positive equals more passive. And then this explanation. So I'm definitely going to send a note to Dave right after this to get that looked at, because it caused a lot of problems. And I find, like, you notice I probably stuttered a lot when I was explaining that, because even for me, who uses it every day, putting it, I understand it, but putting it in a way someone understands who doesn't use the program is complicated, and that's kind of a no-go when it comes to programming this stuff. So maybe they can just get the link.
How does IB explain it?
They would use delta that Andy was talking about. So basically, right, you've got a market is just this, right? A market is, you've got your bids here, right? And you got your asks here, and that's a market, right? That's the entire stock market right there. So basically what it's saying is that if it's more negative and you're buying, you're adding to the price, right? You're going from 10 to 10.02. So then putting in a negative number for that kind of confuses people, right? And then if you're selling, you're going the other way, where you're saying, okay, I want 9.98, and then you're going to put in, again, a negative number. So whether you're adding or subtracting it, it's still a negative number. And that just kind of confused people a bit. What I'm going to propose is that when they switch this, the long and short, that something maybe changes here, depending on how easy that is. But so anyway, that's the question, and that's the answer. It's just more negative, more aggressive, more positive, less aggressive. So if they're bitching that they're not getting a lot of their fills, tell them to make sure that their scan is liquid enough, but ask them what they have as this limit offset. So for stop loss orders, same kind of thing, where you can set out a stop loss, and it will be based off whatever the alert price is. You can say, okay, I want percentage, right? I want to risk 5% on any given trade. You can do dollars, where you can say I want to risk $2.35, or you can do based off of filter, right? So if they want to use our smart stop, they can do that. I like to put things at like the high or the low of the day, right? So I can put above low, and it will put it right at the low of the day. I built in a little indicator here for VWAP minus price. So if I put that in, it's going to put the stop loss directly under what VWAP is. So the filter here is pretty advanced. Most people are going to use dollars and percentages. And then what you do is you just fill out this offset, which again is different from this offset, which is what I think we need to work a bit on, of whatever that value wants to be, right? Same with targets, exact same thing, right? Dollars, percentage, and filter. You know, you can use any kind of filter you want. This is huge where customs come in. You can say, what's the average true range? I want to make a half of that, and you can build that. So this is kind of where people will get geeky. Trailing stops is the same thing, but it just sends out a trailing stop order, which is just basically, you know, a trailing stop order for you guys who don't trade, basically just says, as the stock goes higher, I want you to move the stop up behind it, so that when the stock turns and comes down, I get stopped out at hopefully a higher price than, you know, having to watch it all day. And you can do those as well. So just down here is the last little bit for this, and it's just when do you want to exit, right? So do you want to exit a certain time after you enter, right? 62 minutes after entry. Do you want to turn this off so you exit yourself, right? This is 15 minutes before the close, or you can exit at open or close a few days from now. So when people say, can this be used for swing trading? The answer is yes. You can have it sell you, you know, up to a month from your entry. So
now the timed exit, Michael's, will also come over with the when you load from the cloud, correct? I mean, using your backtesting results.
Yep, whatever you have backtested, which is how I think we're gonna end up doing it with Holly, is it's gonna load in those as well. So it's gonna use whatever I've backtested Holly's alerts at. Yeah, so once this is done, people can actually run their backtests right from here. You can right click on it. You can go to alert window, which basically means you don't need to have this window up. If you go to the alert window, it will just open up a new alert window for you that will have, you know, everything set up kind of the way you wanted it. After that, you just enable and disable, and then it will just start trading on its own. So last thing I want to talk about tonight, and this is the big thing that I think everybody should be, this is the argument that I would make why everybody should be using this. And this is the argument I try to tell Barry, but you know, he's stuck in his ways, an old fuddy-duddy. This is how you can, let's just delete this, how you can build a strategy that will only activate when you tell it to, essentially. So just think about it, you know, you're trading Apple, you know, you're buying some Apple, you know, you're, like I was talking about, you're in a boardroom meeting talking about some, you know, boring shit, and you want to pull out your phone, make a trade. You can enter positions just by right-clicking anywhere, basically within Trade Ideas on the chart, and you can trade. You can do it on the actual alert, and you can trade, and you can do it on Holly's alerts, right? So if I wanted to buy this power hour long, I can right-click, and you'll see it here. These risk on and risk off things, ignore for now. This is things that are coming. This is going to be the midway of Holly trading, but we'll ignore this for now. But you can see the strategies that are here are kind of pre-built in the system. So I can say I buy $5,000 worth using the market price, by using the last price, and buy 100 shares doing the same. But say I wanted to build my own one that was kind of like how I told you guys I trade it. So I'll go in here and right click and just load from cloud, right? If I wanted to load something that I'd already built, or I can load up a new strategy. And what it's going to do is it's going to pull up this exact same window, but in completely blank. So for me to fill out. So I can name it whatever I want. I'll just call it hi. Pick the account, you know, default accounts or any accounts that I want. I can buy or sell. These don't matter because this will not trade until I tell it to. So you can put in whatever you want there. This won't matter because, so basically all of this, I guess, doesn't matter because it's waiting for me to hit the button to sell. It's not doing anything itself. And that's because we don't have anything up here. You remember with the other one, we had all the entry criteria in here. That's gone now. So it won't do anything until I tell it to. So just like with the other one, I can say, okay, well, I like to risk based off my current portfolio, $250 on every trade, right? And I want to enter using a fairly aggressive order. So let's make this spot 05. So that means that if the price is $10, when I click on it, it's going to send me out a $10.05 limit order. And then I want to put my stop. So I'll select filter and I will select above low, right? So now it's going to put out a stop. It's going to buy me at whatever the price is plus 5 cents, and it's going to put out a stop at the low of the day, and it's going to calculate the distance between those two, and it's going to pick up enough shares. So if that's hit, I risk my 250 bucks. So then from there, I can do the same thing with a target. If I want to put in a target, I can put in a trailing stop. And then if I wanted to make sure, if I'm going to still be in that meeting 5 minutes before the close, that it wants to get me out, it will just get me out. So once I hit OK, you can see that this new strategy is right here. Now, ideally, you would name it something that wasn't stupid, but this will work for now. So now, anywhere I go in here, I can go to trade, and you can see our new strategy here. So I wonder if I can do this real quick. So we'll put this over here so you can see that in theory, all these orders should pop up and then they'll cancel right away just because it's the end of the day. So trade, buy. Oh, there it is. It was, and then delete it. So it pops up here, and what it will do is it will do all of that math for me, and then it will send out the appropriate orders. So the reason that this is huge is when people say, can I auto trade Holly? You can say no, but you can make it really quick if you're just sitting here and saying, oh, you know, look, there's that quarterback. I like that one. I can just trade and I can buy, and it will put out all those orders. So that is kind of the real power. I know I have to explain it in a roundabout way because you guys have to know everything behind it. But this is, again, as Andy was saying, I think this is huge. I think this is the thing, again, that may have signed a speed trader. Then I made a quick video that got that me and Sean and Dan have been circulating around. It's gotten the attention of TD. You know, I should put that with an awesome grain of salt.
Are you demonstrating what you just showed here on that video that you just mentioned?
Yeah, I'm basically just, you know, playing the client instead of the you know, instead of someone that works there, and just say, oh, look how quickly I can put in trades and how easy it is. Because essentially what I've done is I've put out 2 trades for them, right? I've bought something with the intention of selling it by the end of the day and having a stop loss order out. So from their point of view, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But for our clients, this is great. So if you ever get a question that says, I love Holly, but I can never seem to get her trades, boom, here it is, right? Or, you know, I'm interested in speeding up my trading, but, you know, not really interested in auto trading. There it is, right? And you saw how once you understood how it works, how simple that was, right? You just fill out what you want for a stop loss, and you fill out what you want for a profit target, and when you want to sell it, and everything else will just get handled when you right click in any of the things. So, you know, this is how I trade all day long. What I took VS PM, I think, was my only Holly trade today. Yeah, this is the one that Barry told me wouldn't work. So I picked it up when I saw it come out. I just right clicked, right? And I just said buy, and I have one that's called, I think it's just called buy risk 250 bucks above low or something like that. So I just clicked it and it said, okay, well, your entry is going to be around 238. Your stop's going to be about 210, right? So say for, I don't know what it got me, but say it was 500 shares, and then it just goes, there you go. And I wish I said that I left it till the last 5 minutes of the day, but I got out somewhere in the 60s. But it's that ability. Oh, great. And now that's watch. But yeah, now we're, you know, that's the main selling point to both clients and to brokers, is just saying how easy that was from seeing the position, clicking on it, it populates a chart. I get to do my quick little analysis. It also populates a single stock window I have that has all my numbers that I want to see. And then I can just click a button and make a trade and just go from there. So
cool.
So let's do just Q&A. I
have a question.
Time. So, yep.
What is Trade Ideas doing to protect ourselves, right? Is there something in the billing policy? Like when all of this stuff goes live, like law of probability says someone's going to set up their settings wrong and completely blow up their account and come screaming to us that, they're completely bankrupt and it's all our fault. What are we doing to protect ourselves?
It's already in the TOS. So just because you can't trade Holly, you can trade. So this is the next great Holly strat that you're all going to see and say, God damn, Mike's a genius. I could plug this, and this will do probably 100 trades a day, and I can, in theory, plug this into my own brokerage account and have a trade all day. And that's actually where my primary trading income comes, is I have 6 strategies like this that I run every day. So it's even more dangerous now than it will be when that is out, because we're trusting them to build the strategies themselves, right? Which, you get to see how hard it is for these people to do basic computer functionality. So this is going to be.
Yeah, that's why I'm worried about it.
Yeah. So this will be even easier because it will do all of the stop loss and all the sellings and everything for them. But it's going to be one of those that we're just going to make sure is in the terms of service. And then I would like to see. I think Steve brought this up, and I totally agree. I want to see something that every time you open up Trade Ideas, or every time you open up this window in particular, there's another trade at your own risk guidelines, right? But yeah, that's, I guess, the short answer to your question, William, is just we're going to try to cover our ass with end user license agreements and terms of services and that type of stuff. Just say too bad, so sad.
Yeah, unfortunately, okay. Michael, I see that we have so many users that understand trading simply at the level of sell X shares at Y price or buy X shares at Y price, and they don't understand. They don't understand all the nuances that you're getting into in terms of limiting loss and sizing of the position and things like that. And they think that all they have to do is push a button and Holly's going to make them money.
Yeah, some of them are dumber than a box of rocks, and they're terrible with computers, and we're giving them a lot of power with just a few clicks.
Yeah, but what you got to remember is that power is already there, right? I got you guys brought me in as a consultant because I've been doing this for 2 years now. I don't know when, Steve, when I taught that webinar about custom formulas with you, that's got to be over 2 years ago. So we already have the power. But what's going to happen is when they turn on Holly, Holly's going to take care of the exits, right? Holly's going to take care of the stop loss, and Holly's going to take care of the risk management and all of this. So there certainly will be that, and there'll certainly be a lot more of that. But we're making it almost easier for them than we are now. So that's going to do 2 things. One, it's going to cover our ass a little bit because it's going to, all the stop losses and everything are going to be handled. But B, it's going to bring in a lot more people into Brokerage Plus, so it's going to kind of increase some liability there. But, there's really nothing else we can do besides you signed a document digitally when you got here that says we're not liable. And then again, hopefully what I'm arguing for is something that opens up every time you open up Trade Ideas and says your losses are your loss. And other than that, right, what else do you do, right? You sell people a hammer and they smash their face with it. You put on a sticker that says, don't smash your face with this hammer, right? There's only so much you can do to protect people from themselves, I guess, is the way I look at it.
And you said other programs have a warning like that too, so it's not unusual?
No, and that's actually how Interactive Brokers gets by theirs. So that bypass orders thing that I showed you, right? This is how they kind of cover their ass, is that when you do this, you're basically agreeing that you want to let an outside program completely control your program. And they have in their terms of services that if you tick all this stuff, then you're on your own. So it pops up every now and then too when I load up my system and it says something about a warning for allowing API connections and this type of stuff. So it's really just a shell game, right? It's just pass the buck. Make sure the clients see enough things and sign enough things that say, if I screw up, it's my fault, and then just deal with them as they come.
I figure the ones that go broke stop trading and stop being my problem.
Yeah.
I wonder if the way TI Web makes you click that radio button every single time. When you load TI Web, you have to click I agree every single time. I wonder if we should do something like that.
That's what I would like to see. Again, put it in the long form TOS, right? So that covers us. I've got experience with that with my other consulting. You can, if you read Apple's TOS, it talks about chemical and nuclear weapons. Don't use iTunes from chemical and nuclear weapons. It's insane. So you can put anything you want in there to save yourself. Yeah, but then I would like to see something additional that every time someone opens up the program, or when they connect this, right? When they connect to their brokers, it just pops up and says, right, are you sure? You could lose money, blah, 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 and then go from there. But that's really all we can do, Sorry, I think this had earnings and I was in. No, that's nothing. Yeah, so I've got a while actually. So if anyone has any questions or wants to walk through any of this, that's fine. Or with Steve having to go soon, we could wrap it up here. I would like to do another one of these maybe 2 weeks from now, going through everything again and maybe just having like a long form Q&A. I just think that we're going to put a massive marketing push on this now that the test drive's over and everything. This is kind of the whole marketing pitch. Everything we're selling for the next little bit is going to be auto trading Holly. So yeah, maybe we end this here and then circle back in maybe like 2 weeks or something around this time and just do like a big Q&A. The other thing that I want to note real quick, probably the last thing, is that I'll put that cloud computer that I've been using for testing. The guys in Chicago this week actually used it for marketing, but it's also just there to mess around with, right? It uses this simulated account, can't risk any money or can't lose any money. And I connect it up to Trade Ideas every morning. So I encourage people just to come in and mess around with the system and place phony buy orders and sell orders and, build your own strategies and have them run and do whatever you want, because, whole learn by doing thing.
Have you seen how much free time I have during a day?
I know.
That's all of us, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Yeah, I think you're right. This recording is getting too long. Steve's got to render it, so we'll probably good to sign off now. Thanks, Michael. I sure appreciate it.
No problem. And yeah, I want to have another one soon. So it's
yeah,
good
I'd like
having
another
you.
one too. There's a lot to take in at one time.
Okay. Well, yeah. Why don't we do that? I'll check when everyone's free, and then I'll put something on the books for 2 weeks from now, probably. As things are going, more and more crazy around the 15th when all that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys.
See you, everybody.
All right.
Have a good night, everybody. See you in the morning.